Hello and happy Halloween. I'm Dr. Ruthie, sexuality educator, relationship expert, and thanks to funwares.com, I'm here to talk to you a little bit on how to enjoy sex during her period. This came as a special requested topic, so one of you wrote into funwares.com and asked to have this one covered, and I think it is a wonderful topic to be talking about. So we're going to start with the pros and the cons, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how to knock those cons out of the way so you don't have to worry about it anymore. And then just talk a little bit about some of the things that you can enjoy, different kinds of sex acts, depending on your mood and what you're comfortable with during your period or her period. So first of all, I want to say that there is no reason why you need to avoid sex on her period unless you've got some sort of specific medical reason to do so that you've talked to your doctor about. So sex on your period is just fine. There's no harm in it. There may be a little bit of a decrease in the risk of pregnancy possibility, but it's also not a good form of birth control because you can never be completely sure that the cycle is regular. So it's a decreased risk, but I definitely don't recommend it for birth control. So there's lots of other good reasons to do it though. So let's talk about some of the pros of sex on her period. The first one is that it can be a wonderful way for both of you or all of you to gain comfort with her body during all times of the month. And for you to gain comfort with yourself, ladies, during your period too. For a lot of us, we get raised with this belief system that we're yucky and dirty and there's all these negative attributes to having our period and being menstruating and things like that. None of these things are true. It can be uncomfortable for some of us. It can be a little bit of a hassle, certainly no doubt about it. But there is nothing unclean or inappropriate or embarrassing. It is just, a wonderful part of being female, and in some ways it can be a great time of the month, and other ways it can be an annoying time of the month, but hopefully for most of us it kind of balances out between the pros and the cons. So increasing that body comfort and that communication with each other just by bringing up the topic and, perhaps giving it a try and seeing that, everything is going to be okay and that we don't have to put our lives on hold sexually because it's that time of the month, right? So that can be one of the greatest pros right there, simply by, talking about it and finding out what you like to do and then enjoying that during your period can, make you closer as a couple and make you more comfortable as an individual and make your partner more comfortable with you as well, which is great. A lot of women tell me, and their partners tell me this all the time, that they love how much wetter women are during their periods. So the menstrual fluid becomes an extra bit of lubrication along with everything else. Some women and some of their partners also tell me that the women get a lot more easily aroused and are much more interested in sex just due to the hormonal fluctuations during that time of the month. Some women will respond that way and some women won't, but if you're feeling that or your partner is, then that is a wonderful pro to having sex during your period because you want it more, and then there's that extra fluid for lubrication as well. Having sexual stimulation and orgasms during your period can also help to decrease cramps and all kinds of other discomfort. All of those good brain chemicals and body chemicals that get released from sexual pleasure can really help with pain relief and sleeping more easily and all sorts of good comfortable things. So that's another wonderful reason to do so. And you know what? It can just be fun. It can be fun to explore each other. Our bodies feel different to ourselves. Our bodies feel different to our partners. Our sexual responsiveness may be different. Our levels of arousal may be different. Our orgasms may feel different because, with all of the hormones and chemicals changing throughout the month, we do have those natural changes all the time. So it can also be a lot of fun to, find out all of the neat stuff that's different and that you can experience when you're menstruating. So those are all wonderful pros. There's not a whole lot of cons. That's a long list of pros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I came up with, and I'm sure you could come up with a lot more. But I really only hear about 2 different cons, even with all those pros. But for some reason, folks take those cons so much more seriously than they take the pros. The first one is worrying about mess, because blood can stain, right? And maybe we don't want to encounter the visual or the tactile of blood and other kind of menstrual fluids like the tissues and things like that that come out. And closely related to that is self-consciousness. So a lot of women are worried that their partners will be grossed out. Sometimes some partners don't really know how to handle this situation and may feel a little squicked out about it. But that doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and discover that it's wonderful anyway. I'm sure that we can all come up with lots of thoughts of things that we didn't think we would enjoy in all sorts of areas of life and then find out later that we did, right? So I remember when I was a kid, I used to think that tomatoes were the most disgusting food in the entire world. And, once I got a little bit older and a little more mature and realized that you can't just guess whether you're going to like a food or not before you try it, I discovered that actually tomatoes are pretty good and I cook with them all the time now. So we can all come up with examples where we thought we wouldn't like something ahead of time and we gave it a shot and maybe we didn't, but maybe we really did. And it turned out to be fantastic. But there's a lot of worry. Women are worried they don't like that particular, they have negative associations with their period, either because they don't enjoy that time of the month or because they've just been brought up their whole lives to consider it gross and we're bombarded with that kind of advertisement all the time. Clean it up, make it go away, make it like it never happened, and certainly if we're physically uncomfortable, I can understand that perspective. But why not, if it's an unhappy time for you, why not get some more joy out of it, right? Okay, so there's those two cons. So let's talk about how to deal with both of them. I think that to a certain degree, if we can talk about the worry about mess first, then that will alleviate a lot of the worries of self-consciousness or of our partners being squicked out. So let's start with the mess and see if that kind of, cleans up some of these other problems for us. So that's probably a good point for us to stop on this video and make sure that you log over to part 2 of this series where we'll talk about different techniques and tips to handle the different cons to turn everything into a pro. I'm Dr. Ruthie, thanks to funwares.com, and I will see you in part 2 and in my other videos. Happy Halloween!